Okay folks, this is part number 2 where we're going to clean up this car so we can do a full inspection. It's a dirty job, there's a lot of burn material, so I'm going to start by removing everything that needs to go off that we cannot recover anyway. And then I'm going to probably steam clean it down so we have a clean car to work on, because this smells awful if you put it in your workshop. So. This type of fire extinguisher isn't worth a lot. You can take it out of your car and trying to put the fire out, but by then it's probably too late. So you're much better with a tubed system. So you have jets all over the car and you just pull a handle. Anyway, this is garbage now. All right, so let's look on the rear panel. So let's see what's underneath the panel. I think that will be a disaster. Panel is loose, so let's see. Oh my God. Well, this is the back side, and this is really looking bad. Look at all this. Look on the battery. It completely melted away. The emergency brake switch is laying here. Yeah, I mean, this is really, really bad. I don't know if this is repairable. Because it may also have damaged the rear differential, who knows. So I will have to take out all this shit first now and then see what we can do. This is the adjustable shock. This is the adjustable shock absorber. That also is totally gone, so this is going to be a very expensive repair. Filler cap for the gas tank. That's totally gone. And look how this is bent. Just by the heat, I assume. So, yeah. This is really not something you want to repair. We've got the, well, it's gone, but this used to be the fuel pump, and this was the fuel filter. You know, it's just gone, completely gone. I wonder if this was the one that caused it. There is a lot of stripping that has to be done on this car, so I'm going to continue and then show you once I have removed most of this junk where we are with it. And here is all the stuff that I just got out of the car, and that's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, look at the state of the battery. This is really incredible, isn't it? Let's have a look on how the ECU looks like. And I think it's behind this tachometer. All right. If you're looking through that hole, you can see that all the wires are scorched. And this is where the ECU is sitting. All these wires were tied up either to the dials or to the ECU. But if this is all scorched like it is, then there's likely no chance in the world that this ECU will have survived it. So I've taken the gas tank out, I've taken all the other parts out already, so now we can have a look on the rear axle and on the drive shafts, and on the uprights. So here we got the differential in the back. It is not melted, but I don't know what state it's in. We'll have to check it. But look on the drive shafts and the gaiters on it. Totally gone. So I'm even afraid that even inside the seals, inside the differential are going to be melted. So all that will have to be replaced. Right here we have the lower wishbone, and you can see that the rubbers there are also melted. I jacked up the car a bit so you can really see what happened with it. You see that? Really. Now this is not that expensive to rebuild, but removing melted rubbers, not all that fun. So I jacked up the car on one side, and it looks like I can still rotate the drive shaft. And I don't hear nothing really special, but of course I don't know what damage there is, so for that we would have to take it all apart. But before we do so, we're going to clean it up. The coilovers, well, those certainly will have to be replaced. I wouldn't even trust them anymore. And these were nice ones because these were having a separate oil reservoir, which of course is now totally burned out. So yeah, these are not cheap to replace. So I jacked up the car so I can take off this one wheel because the tire is flat. The other side is still okay, at least it's still inflated. Of course we'll have to change the rear tires. So once this is off, I might have a closer look actually on the brakes themselves, but at least it still rotates. All right. That doesn't look too bad. But again, we'll see it when it's cleaned up. So let's take all this off as well and have a look. And what I can see is that this is the fuel line that I disconnected. But from that point on, here it's a copper tube, both for the feed and the return. But I can see fire has been inside this channel as well. You can actually see it here on the panel and on this panel. So what I'm going to do is remove all the wiring that we have in here because this is now useless. And then disconnect these pipes. I'm going to leave the brass pipes inside. There's nothing wrong with those. So this is such a mess. Okay, and I will cut this guy off and then we can probably pull it out in one way or another. Alright, and there's the other one which is out, so I need to keep on moving all this old cabling away. Alright, let's see if the ECU survived it. I doubt it. Alright, now one more cable which is really bugging me. You know, normally you wouldn't be cutting all these cables, but in this case everything is burned, so you might as well cut them all and remove them all and put a brand new wiring in if we're going to do it. So this is the ECU. It's a Stinger, and I don't know if it survived it or not, but it's something we can figure out later. So I'm going to remove it from the panel and I'll check it in the house, but I really think it's going to have a major issue. Especially because there were so many shorts. And it all depends a little bit if he did cut off the power right away when the fire happened. If he did, then we might be lucky. But then again, the heat might have killed it. If I was to put this all back together, I would make it all wide open so you can easily get to it. There's no need to hide all this stuff. Alright, ECU. Let's see. And this, well, there's not much you can do with this, is it? So, let's see what this is going to cost us now. The disc is good, but I probably need a new set of brake pads and new seals for the brake caliper, so a revision kit. So that together probably runs me about 300-400 euros. A new set of coilovers, this can be very expensive, but let's say another 600 euros. The drive shafts I need to check. Now normally the Hommel are still alright, but I will certainly need a new gator, both at the inside and the outside. So that is another 150 euros. The differential, I don't know yet. I think most likely the seals on the sides, those are most likely damaged, but I'll see that when I take the drive shafts out. So that would be another 100 euros. Replacing the brake pipes for another 50 euros. We're going to need a new gas tank, and this is going to go in the back in aluminum, so that will be at least another 600 euros. And then we need all the aluminum panels, both at the outside here and inside, or polyester if I can get them, but I might as well do it in aluminum. So the panels, if I buy it in aluminum, then that's probably going to cost me another 200 euros, but that of course is without bending them and forming them and fitting them. Cleaning the whole frame, shot blasting it, is another 100 euros. And of course fixing all the bushes for the uprights, this is another 250 euros. A new steering wheel, 350, then all the gauges that need to come on, that is probably another 500 euros, and switches, another 100 euros, and relays, that's another 100 euros. We'll need 2 new seats, 400 apiece, that's 800. A new wiring loom for the ECU. That runs you about 600 euros. I might need a new high tension coil, that's another 350. And some small pieces here, you know, like contacts and little connectors, some hoses that need to be replaced because the silicone hoses are here and there damaged by the heat. So that's going to be another 300 euros just for the hoses and all these little pieces. We're going to need a complete new wiring loom for the electrical part of the car, so for the fans, for the lights, for the instruments. So that's most likely another 250 to 300 euros because we can build this ourselves. We're going to need 2 new rear tires and potentially another rim. Not sure about the rim, we will need to check it out. It looks alright, but I'm not 100% sure. So 2 new rear tires, that's another 500 euros. And I don't know about the rim, but that could as well be, if I can find them, another 250 a piece. And we haven't even talked about all the work that we have to do on it. So this is a couple of hours of work. If you do it for yourself, then most likely it's free. But normally, I would think you're going to spend about 100 hours on this car at least. And of course a new paint job, both for the front, also for the bonnet, probably for the back. So that's another 1,000 euros. So if you're going to ask me if this is worthwhile the money, I would say probably no, it's not. It's too much money. It probably is better to take the engine out and take the parts you can still use and sell them separate and look for another car. Because this would be a hell of a lot of work and quite a bit of money. And we will need most likely a new ECU. This one I will open it up and check it out, but I really think it's gone. And it's an old model as well, so we probably need to go for a new one, maybe an Emerald, which is another 800 euros. So let's see what the condition of the ECU is. And inside, it looks all right. You probably noticed that some of the chips are barred out, scratched out. That's just to avoid that you don't copy things, so you can't read the chip type. It's a bit of copyright protection, I would say. But this still looks okay. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's still going to work properly. But we can try it. So I'm going to keep it aside. I'm going to clean up the housing and then we can try it later. We still need to add the battery to it, which is another 300 euros, and 2 fenders for another 400 euros. And that makes the total sum quite impressive. So we'll see what happens. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and in the next one we go in to check out that Stinger ECU on the workbench. Thank you for viewing.